is it Gimidieva or Gimidieva?
Gimadieva.
Gimadieva.
Sometimes Gimadieva, and I like it more.
It's not Dieva.
Diva.
Dieva.
Diva. I'm fine with that.
You're Diva. So Venera, tell me a little bit about the very start of your life. I mean, what sort of cultural environment were you born into? Was there music all around you?
I was born in Kazan. It is capital city of Tatarstan Republic, but it's still Russia. And we have own culture, own language, and own music, which is more like Turkish, a bit Arabican, like pentatonica, based on pentatonica.
So it's almost like an East-West. You have a mix of cultures.
Yes, it's a mixture of these cultures.
And what are your very first memories of singing, and what was the impression that singing made on you as a child?
I had few experiences about the music, about the singing. The first I remember, I was 6 years old, and I was listening by radio, and it was Caccini Ave Maria, and it was so beautiful. I was just standing middle of the room, and I couldn't move because I was so impressed of this music. And when I was studying as a conductor,
yes,
a chorus conductor, our teacher decided to go with us to the opera theater, and it was Aida.
Right.
And I didn't like it at all, because Aida, the main heroine, she was, I don't remember anything from this evening. I don't remember music, I don't remember singing, orchestra, nothing. I remember one thing, when she was putting her head on father's shoulder, and it was so artificial, like she did so big movement, and I thought, why opera is so artificial? I don't believe in it.
So this is interesting. So your first impressions of opera were, oh, it's artificial, it's not very musical,
good, no.
And it doesn't really engage me. What turned that around for you? What were the experiences that changed your attitudes towards opera?
I think the age as well. When we are growing up, everything is changing in our mind, and in a while I exploring myself that something changed, that I like classic music, that I like opera, how it sound, how it's possible to sing. And then my teachers, they told me, Venera, you have voice, why don't go to the college, musical college, to have a musical education, professional one. I didn't have any specific ideas who I will be. I wanted to be in music.
So you had this great urge to make music. So where did you go to study?
I went to local college, and my teacher, chorus teacher, she told me, Venera, you don't have musical education enough, because I had just 2 years of it. And she told me, you should improve it, and that's why you should go as a chorus conductor. And she told me, because I was very young and I needed something more, the reasons why I should go there. And she told me, you will sing in chorus, and it will be fun. And I thought, okay, I will go there.
So there you were a chorus conductor, and you were doing some singing, choral singing. How did the voice start developing into a solo instrument?
Step by step, I discovered that my voice is growing up, and I found another colors of my voice, and my teacher supports me a lot, and she told me, Venera, you should go to St. Petersburg or Moscow Conservatory to try to get there.
So what sort of repertoire were you singing at this time? Was it the song repertoire, the opera repertoire? How was the voice developing? What were you Tell me what you were singing.
I was singing both as art songs and opera repertoire. Not very difficult for that time because the voice still was growing up and it wasn't so strong. And I don't remember what I was singing. Some Russian songs, of
Right.
course, some folk songs, Tartar songs.
Your voice was growing all this time. You were sort of really finding your vocal identity.
Yes, yeah, right. And my teacher, she told me, Venera, you are ready to go to St. Petersburg Conservatory or Moscow Conservatory to try to get in there.
You're really good at following people's advice. So basically, if somebody tells you something, you do it.
Yeah, I don't resist because the people who you trust, the people who you trust. So the people who you trust, they speak with you. I think from the God. That's why I was listening to them.
And was the advice a good piece of advice to go to St. Petersburg?
Yes, absolutely. I'm grateful, and she was preparing me for this step in my career.
And was that the first time you travelled far from home when you went to?
Yes, it was first time because my mother, when I wanted to go to St. Petersburg, just straight after graduated college, my mother didn't let me go.
Right.
Because she told me, "Oh, Venera, it's too dangerous to go out of the home." But my best friends, one of them went to Moscow, another one went to St. Petersburg Conservatory as well. And 1 year they was studying there, and my mom saw that everything is fine with them. And next year she decided, okay, we should go then.
And was it a culture shock for you?
It was, especially architecture shock.
Right.
Because it's so beautiful city.
And that was inspiring in itself, to be somewhere beautiful and to have a sense of a long tradition of music making that you could perhaps absorb yourself. I mean, presumably it was lovely to hear all these concerts going on, and tell me about the musical culture that you were absorbing.
St. Petersburg so rich city for the culture, because everything work on it, everything for the culture living, like architecture, the painters, the all cities around the St. Petersburg. I was explore so many things there.
Tell me who you were studying with, and how you took the voice to the next level.
I had really good teacher in St. Petersburg Conservatory, and I'm so grateful that she had me as a student. Svetlana Gorenkova. Mm-hmm. She made so great things for me.
And what was it specifically that she did for you in terms of how
she believed in me,
right.
And she kept telling me, like, you have beautiful voice, you can do more than you are doing now, I believe in you. And once I remember she told me, Venera, I waiting from you something really great. And it was really special for me.
Did you have that sense in you anyway? Did she light a fire in you that you were waiting to be lit? Did you know that you had something to say that was different from anybody else?
I think all students felt like they are own in their profession, but I could realize that I could do something specific and special. And and my teacher was working with me very hard.
We hear a lot about singers and their singing lessons and their singing teachers. How much were you learning at this point about being a stage person as well as an actress as well as a singer?
In St. Petersburg Conservatory we had really good teachers, they taught us to be natural on the stage, to have really good, like the clear idea when you are on the stage. And then when I was 24 years old, I was on my 4th year at the conservatory, and I get into St. Petersburg Opera Theatre. It's a small theatre with a small hall, but very beautiful, very cute. And head of this theatre, Yuri Alexandrov, he's a stage director, and he's brilliant director. He made a lot of things, and my first role was Lucia de la Mermur.
Fantastic.
Yes, the big role. I had the small one. Just they were trying me as a singer, but it was very small. But the first big one was Lucia, and it was modern, very modern production. And Alexandrov opened for me this life, the not only opera singer life, but opera actor life. How it's possible to play on the stage.
So Venera, I'm interested in your debut role as Lucia, because here you are, you're a young woman, you've arrived in St. Petersburg, you've been training at an opera college. In some ways you've had quite a sheltered life, and in some ways quite a positive life, because life has been going on very well. Now, stepping onto the stage, you were singing your first roles. So far, all your kind of confirmation of the direction you were going in came from your teachers and from the musical profession. When was it that you first suddenly sort of thought, from the outside, you were getting this feeling that, yes, my audience likes this, the critics like it? When did you start getting that feeling, yes, I need to take this even further now?
I was in Dresden at the competition, and one agent, we still keep in touch with him, he's very good, and he told me that, Venera, what are you going to do now, because the studying is over, and what you want to do. And I told him that I'm going to La Scala, I want to go there. And he told me, you know, at the Bolshoi Theatre, they created new artist program, young singers program, and everything that is new, especially in Russia, is very good.
Yeah.
So maybe you should try to go there. And I thought, I don't want to leave Russia. I don't want to go somewhere out of Russia, because my family was there, still there, and yeah. And
so that's what you did, you went to Moscow.
I went to Moscow.
And once again, you took somebody's good advice.
Yes,
So
yes, it's true.
And how old were you when you got to Moscow? What sort of
I
stage
was
were you at?
I was 25 years old.
Right.
Just straight after St. Petersburg Conservatory, I went there, and fortunately, they took me to the Young Singers program.
Right.
And Maestro Dmitry Vdovin, it was really interesting 2 years with at this program, because it was absolutely new for me, because we were very concentrate of our professional things. We had so many auditions there.
Right.
For the agents, for the directors, and it was like we say conveyor.
Yes, exactly the same, conveyor
Yeah,
belt. Yes.
but it was very good for us to understand this world, because it is conveyor sometimes.
Yes. Did you feel sort of like a commodity? Did you suddenly think, how can I express my personality when actually we're just on this conveyor belt? And
No, but we were prepared.
yes. Okay.
So our teacher gave us a few arias, which was very good for our voices. Yeah, and we were very good prepared for these auditions. So and we were repeating, and these arias when I sang I know them very good.
What
Even
were they? Tell us what sort of arias you were
I was.
singing then. So
Sorry.
which sort of arias? Which arias were you singing?
Which arias? I was singing. I was singing Valse Juliet,
Ah, yes.
Traviata. I was singing Magda.
Right.
What else? Donna Anna Mozart. So very good arias which can work for me in the future. Yeah, and it was really, really good time, these 2 years.
And were you aware of what the demands of the profession were going to be in terms of the dedication it would have to give, the sort of, presumably you didn't have much time for any other life apart from the life in the theatre, so...
That's why my husband, from his Young Singers program, he's pianist.
Right. That's where you met?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did have a nice
I did.
private life as well. That's great. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you.
And so, tell me, what was your first big break in terms of you moving from the conservatoire, moving from the whole training system? When did you first suddenly think, yeah, I now have an opportunity to really start my career? When did that start?
It was step by step, but maybe from the Tsar of Shemaha by state director Kirill Serebrennikov. And yeah, it was, I had this opportunity to work with him and to feel myself like I'm ready to be the singer, not only young program singer. Yeah.
And where did that then take you in terms of making a career outside Russia? Did you always know that you would have to leave Russia and you'd have to start looking at an international career?
The good thing in our Young Singers program, it was that they prepared us to be international singers. That's why we were learning English. Now they have Italian and French and Deutsch languages. We didn't have it, unfortunately. But anyway, we had Italian, of course. And that's why they invited a lot of state directors and agents. And I found my agent from these auditions.
Right. It sounds as if you deal very well with pressure, because it sounds like a very pressured environment. If you're constantly being auditioned, people are constantly sort of assessing you and discovering what you are like, and you're constantly on show, you're constantly being judged. Do you like pressure?
I don't like the pressure, of course, no. But it made us stronger, of course. Yeah, and we learned this phrase, I would love to start, or I would like to start with. And then we are telling the aria what we are going to sing. And it was difficult for us because we came to audience, even if it's a few people, and to speak another language with just in front of the people who doesn't speak Russian, to say, I would like to start with the aria of Traviata. It was so difficult. It took a time.
Yes. Just to say that
Just
phrase.
to say that.
Yes.
Because singing was easier.
Yes. How did you deal with rejection? Because if you were being auditioned and all the time, and if people were coming and saying what they wanted about you, was there ever a time where you thought, oh, that person didn't like it, or they, how did you deal with that when somebody said, actually, I'm going to choose her and not you? So.
We knew exactly what they didn't like or they liked, because after our audition we had a meeting with our maestris, like Maestro Vdovin, pianists and coaches, and we were all of them together. We will discuss about our audition, what we did wrong, what we did right, and it was very good experiment even for us.
So was there a breakthrough moment? Was there a big role that you took on that suddenly changed your idea of what your career could be?
In a good way or
Both,
negative or both?
Both. Tell me both.
Maybe it is the vocal process when you trying to understand your voice, what is good for a voice or not really good, and voice is growing up all the time, and it is changing, and at that moment I couldn't find my voice, which should be when I could hear it in my head, and what I was singing, oh, Gilda, and this role for me was a bit, it broke myself a bit, because
In terms of its psychological effect.
I mean, it is not very comfortable for me, because it push out me out of my comfort zone, and because she's very unusual for me. Or for example, Norina.
Right.
She's a bit absolutely different,
Totally
different,
yes.
person, and this is another side of pushing out me.
So
in another.
So that's interesting, because Gilda in Rigoletto is, of course, a tremendous victim of her circumstances. She's somebody who has no ability to influence what's happening around her. She's toyed with. She becomes a plaything.
Yeah.
Whereas Norina in Don Pasquale is a much more powerful woman. She takes control of everything,
Yeah.
and she's actually suppressing all the men around her.
Yeah.
So they're very extremes
Yes.
of. But both of those you found lay outside your knowledge in a way, I suppose. Of life or...
But Norina, it's closer to me as a character, but not for the voice. It's a bit different.
Right. Yes.
This buffo
Yes, the
operas,
comic, yes.
comic, it's a bit different than I didn't try
Right.
before. But Gilda, it is so not very easy to understand her,
Yeah.
because she was all the time under the control of her father.
Yes.
I could understand it. I was under the control of my parents and grandparents, of
Yes.
course, but not so much. And this is, to understand how she came for this decision to be the victim, to be the sacrifice.
Yes, it's odd that you think of it as a decision. Do you think she had a choice?
She had. She had.
That's interesting.
You know, I had once I had Gilda. I don't remember where. I had Rigoletto in Yekaterinburg, and stage director told me, "Did you think, Venera, that it was not? It was decision of Gilda to be sacrifice of this love, but it was on purpose, like to show Duca that you will miss me.
Right.
Like I will kill myself now, but it is to make you miss me.
So that was the only way she could actually
To show, affect
change
her.
him.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I know that you've been recorded in the Opera House quite a bit. There's some DVDs that have come out. Perhaps you could tell me about the DVDs that we can see you in action.
So yeah, I have few DVD, and first of them it is La Traviata from Glyburn Festival. It was a new production. It's very, very beautiful production. And of course we had really great time. We had a lot of fun during this period of making this production.
It's a very special place to rehearse, isn't it?
It is,
because
yeah.
it was such a. It's like being in a family house.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's a so beautiful place. Yeah.
And then you also did some other DVDs as well, didn't you?
Sorry?
You did some other DVDs.
Yeah, we made another DVD. It is Golden Cockerel by La Monnaie. It is sarcastic opera by Rimsky-Korsakov. Now it's for me it's surprise that it is common opera in Europe
Yes,
now.
it's well known here.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, do you find it refreshing to sing in Russian? Is it a repertoire that you find in some ways easier than any other because it's your own language?
I don't find it easier than Italian or French repertoire because Russian language to sing on Russian it's not easy for me.
Right.
Because you should keep language very forward like Italian or French. But of course I know this music and it goes from my heart, from my soul. I feel this music.
Well, I think it's that takes us to your debut CD. It's absolutely wonderful. You've made this terrific recording of bel canto music, Italian music. So presumably this is the repertoire that you love most.
I love bel canto. Of course, every singer, I think, they would tell, we love bel canto because it's so good for the voice, for the technique, to keep voice fresh, and it's beautiful. I think a beautiful idea to make this CD in idea that to make this kind of bridge from that period of bel canto period to our days when the woman character, the women heroines are stronger and
it's very interesting, isn't it, that you look at the historic portrayal of women in opera and, as you say, the changing role of women in society today.
Yes.
And it is hard to bridge those two. So yes, I mean, presumably when you're singing, do you think you actually can portray that musically, the difference between women now and women then?
It's difficult to pretend that now to show the women like very weak person,
yes.
because we are not already, and we are lucky to live in our days. But still, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, it's not far, a long time ago, the women didn't have the rights and they didn't have much freedom as we have now.
But something like bel canto singing, it's interesting that these bel canto arias, they are very powerful arias. They show women, in terms of technically, physically, you have to have a lot of presence.
Yeah,
to sing
you're
them.
absolutely
Yes,
right,
yes.
because everything is going, what is going from the music, what happening, it's their heart and soul, and they cannot show it to another people, to society. They keep it inside.
Repressed. Almost,
Yes, and that's why it's so emotional.
It's interesting that you call the CD Momento Immobile, which in Italian means a still moment. And you have a tremendous stillness about you. You have a wonderful still centre. And of course the CD contains a series of photographs which show you caught in these different moments of emotion. So can you tell me a little bit about the reasoning behind that, the reason why you did that?
The idea was like to take these women characters in real time and just to stop this moment and to show of their suffering or their laughing when they are happy, and this moment, just to catch this moment and show, for example, in the album, that you can see inside of the CD.
Who was the photographer?
Our photographer was Dario Acosta.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, he's great. We did a great job.
Well, he's a very well-known,
Yes, he is.
and I think he really understands musicians as well. Which is,
Yeah, and he feels the person. The idea was to make these pictures not very operatic,
right.
without glamorous dress, and I really wanted to do something fresh in opera CD, to make it more contemporary, to more close to us, to our life.
I think they do capture something real. They do capture a real emotion, and
Yeah.
and actually, when you see them with the arias, that you actually see how those emotions might be related to reality.
Yes, yeah, right.
Was it hard to, now that you have such a big bel canto repertoire that you sing, was it hard to choose which ones to include, or was there a theme that you wanted to find going through the CD?
I had few roles that I did already on the stage, like Lucia, Norina, Adina. So of course I wanted to put it in the CD, but I would love to make Rossini as well, but I haven't sang Rossini before, so that's why we choose a few arias by Rossini, like aria from Tancredi or Desdemona and Matilda.
Is there a reason why you haven't sung Rossini yet?
I thought I'm not Rossini singer, but I think I can do it.
So is there such a big difference between a Donizetti bel canto and Rossini bel canto?
But Rossini, he has two kind of operas: the serious opera and the buffa opera. And buffa not really for me. I don't feel very safe.
But you sing Norina beautifully, and you sang Adina beautifully.
Thank you. It's a bit, yeah, it's more a bel canto, like more soft way of buffo. It fits to me.
So actually, you don't seem like a sort of a tragic character in your life at all. You have again a very nice, still, calm presence. But you prefer tragedy on stage than comedy.
I prefer the characters who can be different, like can be tragedy or a mixture with the suffering, mixture with the love, and yeah.
So something more psychologically complex. Tell us what roles are coming up soon.
So very soon will be new production of La Sonnambula in Deutsche Oper. The role I've sang before, Adina, one of my favorites, so beautiful music, of course, by Bellini. And at the end of the season, I'm doing new production at the Semperoper in Dresden of Margarita Valois.
Fantastic. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And when will we next hear you at the Royal Opera House in London, where we are now?
I hope it will happen, and I will sing Lucia in that new production that already...
The Katie Mitchell production, yes, fantastic. Yes, wonderful.
So it will be in 2 years, in 1 year.
Right, it's a challenging production, but I'm sure that you will bring something really quite special to it. So,
I hope so. I cannot wait.
Great. Well, Venera, it's been such a pleasure to speak to you about the roles that you're singing, your CD, how exciting that must be to make your CD debut, and also, everything seems to be going in a really good direction. I really hope we'll hear you in more Rossini and more bel canto, and maybe you will be pushing the voice into some Verdi soon, I hope. What do you think?
Maybe. We'll see.
It's a wonderful voice, and the lovely thing is it has a freshness, and it really feels as if it's going to develop into something even bigger and richer and more beautiful. It feels like a voice that's really taking its audience places, which is wonderful. So
Thank you very much.
we look forward to really following your career and with great pleasure. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.